Greetings and welcome to the Empath Boot Camp weekly teaching. I'm here to help empaths stop absorbing. So if you are here live, welcome. If you are watching the replay, welcome. This is actually our third call in a series of 4. And we've been covering some good information. The main idea is that empaths do not have to absorb in order to help people. Your empathetic ability is an amazing superpower, but you cannot operate well in the superpower if you're absorbing, because absorbing leads to being drained, fatigued, and depression, anxiety, resentment, burnout, all of these things that don't serve you. And so I hope you can see how absorbing is not the thing to do. Now, you may have come to this teaching thinking, oh, I have to absorb. If I don't absorb, how can I help people? Well, for the last 3 weeks, I've been teaching you the dynamics. I've been teaching you behavioral health dynamics. I've been teaching you information about the parts of the self, and we're going to move on into some of these ways that you absorb and how to stop it, right? So last week we talked about the ego, the higher self, the persona, and how it is pointless to help people who are in an activated trigger. You got to remember that when a person is in their emotions, they are on the soul level, they're not on a mental level. And because of that, you will not be able to speak logic to a highly emotional person. You have to wait until they come down from the emotion. And even when they come down, you have to remember that you don't have to save everybody, and pain is necessary for life. People can't evolve and grow and shift without pain. Pain is an indication that there's some untruth inside the soul that needs to be faced. Sometimes people are not ready to face the truth. So you can advise them all day long, you're just going to drain yourself. Some people don't want the truth. You can advise them all day long, you're going to drain yourself. So I want to move into talking about just a few ways that you place yourself in a moment of being drained and how you can come out of it. All right. So the first concept here is called projection. All right. So within projection, this is a psychological term. It's the process of displacing one's feelings onto a different person, animal, or object. All right. So projection is the process of putting your feelings, emotions, thoughts onto someone else. Remember, it's yours. It's not theirs. We need projection in order to be altruistic in this time-space reality. But projection gone wrong will drain you. Let's talk about why. If you know how it feels to be hungry and not able to buy food, that would provoke you to give a person who is hungry food or money, right? That's how we get along in this time-space reality, by helping people. You understand the need because it resonates within you, and then you act. That's purposeful. That serves you. The problem comes in when the individual is facing something that you have faced and you have not overcome it. So the energy is still very active in your system, and you go into the energy in order to find out what to do, as opposed to asking yourself, what's in alignment for me to do? 2 different things. Remember, the higher self, the ego, and the persona must be in alignment for us to experience fulfillment. Just 1 second, I'm going to let somebody else in. All right, so I'm going to mute everybody because we're recording. All right, so your higher self, ego, and persona must be in alignment for fulfillment. But if you're facing a situation where you still have unresolved energies in your system, then you are out of alignment. So when you face that situation on the outside, it activates your unresolved energy, and you go into the energy thinking, well, when I felt like that, I wanted somebody to do this and I wanted somebody to do that. And oh, I don't want them to feel bad. Oh, I just wish I could stop their pain. And we say stuff like, I wish I could take your pain away. I wish we begin to take on the pain of the other person as it activates our own pain. And it's that much more intense. And because we can't help the person for various reasons, whatever reason, if this person doesn't want help, they just wanted to vent, maybe they're not ready to face the truth, maybe they don't want the truth, we can't help them. So guess what? Not only do you have their unresolved energy in your system, you have your own, and you feel powerless in both situations. This is why you feel drained. This is why you got to stop absorbing. So again, projection is when you place your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts on someone else in an attempt to save them. People don't need to be saved. People need the truth. And sometimes the truth they're not ready for, they don't want it or whatever. And so your projection, you got to catch the moments when you project onto other people. I was watching a movie, and I'm not immune to projection. Like I said, we need projection on some level. But I was watching a movie once, and this was not long ago. I was with my friend, and it was a little boy crying. And he was crying because he couldn't do well in school, and he had all kind of stuff going on in his life. His mom was on drugs, and he was in the bathroom crying. And my heart just started to ache. And I said, oh, I can't stand seeing children cry. And my friend said, stop projecting. Because I was remembering how I felt when I couldn't do a particular thing and all these things were going on. And I just wanted to get in the movie and say, even movies can cause you to project. Projection is draining. You know you're projecting when, because of someone else's emotional pain, you take on the same emotional intensity or something close to it. And they walk away and you still feel that energy. The only reason you can feel it is because you have that unresolved energy within yourself. So some people will say, see, that's why I don't like talking to people. I'm going to boundary up. I'm going to not let people call me. But guess what? The unresolved energy is inside of you. You still got unresolved stuff. So if you want to operate in this in emotional alchemy, which is taking something unuseful, emotions that is not beneficial to you, and turning it into something more beneficial, that is alchemy. So what you would do is, number one, recognize I'm projecting. Because before this person walked up, I didn't feel no kind of way. I'm projecting. But now that I recognize what is in me, and we're going to move to the next law, which is what I'm about to explain. Now that I recognize what is in me, let me make some moves to resolve the energy, period. The next question is, how do we resolve the energy? Don't worry, we're moving forward. Now listen, in this boot camp, I cannot help you resolve your energy. Some energies will resolve spontaneously, but some take work. Some will take you listening to your soul. And if you're not used to listening to your soul, then you can't quite reach that place. That's where coaching comes in, right? But now that you notice that your unresolved stuff is here, we're not going to act on it. We're going to say, oh, wow, I'm triggered in this too. You're going to immediately ask yourself, simple tools, what's in alignment for me to do in this situation? Here's an example. Somebody I love very much every month was coming up short for their rent. And I can remember times when I couldn't pay my own rent. So when this person kept coming and asking, I would give, but I started to get resentful because it became excessive. However, I felt like I can't just leave them like that. I remember how it felt when nobody helped me and I had to do this and that or whatever. And so I'm triggered. My unresolved energies are in there. It's telling me that there's something I have yet to resolve within myself. I kept giving until I felt burnt out and bitter because that person was not giving back to me on the same level, not even emotionally. They didn't even want to hear what I had to say. And I got really bitter. And a friend said to me, when is this going to end for you? Like, what if she keeps doing this over and over and over again? And at first I was defensive because it was my programming. This person is important to me. When people are important, you must help them. You don't leave people you love stranded. You be loyal. All of that is programs because it prevents me from asking myself what's in alignment. So I'm in my full projection. I'm triggered. All my autopilots are active. And my friend says, when is this going to end for you? What if she keeps asking? I got defensive at first But then I realized, dang, that really is true. Let me think about that. And I didn't see any options. When you are facing your own trigger, you are contracted and you're going to become very limited because your energy is the universe. You're expansive. But anytime you contract, then you become very limited in your options and you can't see. And that produces anxiety. So then when she started calling me and I didn't know what to say, I started avoiding. I stopped going around because I was trying to avoid. The avoiding was draining me. This is why I always say you don't avoid negative energy. You heal what's in you so that the negative energy does not affect you in the same way. So eventually I came to my right mind and I said, I can't keep doing this. I don't even have the money to keep doing this. So I asked myself, what's in alignment? How can I help in a way that's really helping? Because see, I thought that giving the money was helping because I knew how it felt when nobody gave me money, but it was enabling her to stay in a powerless position. This is why I'm saying everybody does not need to be saved. If it were not for somebody not saving me, I wouldn't have been able to help her. So people don't need to be saved. You got to get that deep within. So I asked myself, what's in alignment for me? How can I help and really help? So an idea came to me and I offered it to her. I said, I know that this is a recurring thing and I really want you to be prosperous. I have some business opportunities. I can help you come up with some ideas so that you can increase your income. I can do whatever's necessary so that you can really stand on your own and feel good about it. She said, no, I don't want that, and hung the phone up. She was mad and offended. All of the years, all of the money, all of the emotion that I had spent came bearing down on me. She hung up in my face. I can't believe after all the stuff. And then it started firing up. I know y'all know what I'm talking about because we all face that. After all, I gave her money when I didn't even have it. I asked other people for money. I did this. Now I'm bitter and resentful because I gave what I didn't have to give. And something in me knew that I didn't have to, but something else was conflicting with that. It was like, you have to, you know. So again, projection is when you place your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts on somebody else in an attempt to save them. They don't need to be saved. But you do need to ask yourself, what is in alignment for me in this situation? I want you to get comfortable asking yourself that in every situation. That's a question of the soul. The questions of the intellect are, this person is in front of me, they have a need. How can I meet it? What do I need to do? Let's make it happen. That's the question of the intellect. The question of the soul is what's in alignment. I went through a time in my life where if I even passed by homeless people, I had to give them money. And if I didn't give them money, I felt some kind of way. I felt guilty. And then my children would pour the guilt on me. Mom, you couldn't give them anything. You did have money. This is projection, because if I was homeless, I would want somebody to give me money, right? But for some people, homelessness is on their life's path. And I'm not trying to be cold or distant. That's not my point, because I feel for people all the time. I help people all day long. I'm in coaching. I have clients all day long. So I help people, but I help them without absorbing. That's my point. So now when a homeless person is in my matrix, in my attentional view, I ask myself, what's in alignment for me in this situation? You got to get comfortable with that question because that's self-care. That's self-acknowledgement. That's self-love. Sometimes we project on the other people and we give beyond our capacity. And then we wonder who's going to be there for us. So that's projection. Then we have reflection. Every situation and every person that comes across our attentional field is showing us something about ourselves. It's like when you look in the mirror, and I say this all the time because it's the perfect analogy to me. You don't know you have crumbs on your face till you look in the mirror or until somebody tells you. Once you know that you have crumbs, then you could do something about it. Before that person approached you, you thought you were healed and over the situation because that happened years ago. Your intellect told you that was 20 years ago. You're over that. The person shows up and you're triggered. The trigger is all of your unresolved emotions. You can ask yourself, when the person is in front of you, not only can you ask yourself, what's in alignment for me to do in this situation? You can ask also of yourself, what is this showing me about my unresolved energies? Remember, you can only be triggered by like energy. I do not have an emotional trigger for someone yelling at me. I don't. So if a person is yelling at me, I'm not going to have any kind of reaction. I know it's an emotional bell curve. I'm going to be waiting for them to come down so we can have a conversation. I don't care. But some people cannot stand if they even think a person is about to yell. This is an example. So reflection, as used in psychology, is a way of allowing your words, thoughts, and belief systems to come back to you. All right. It's done by the universe to allow you hear for yourself what you have inside. So you can see if you actually need resolution or not. So let's say the person is in front of you and let's go through a whole process. I'm going to take y'all forward. Let's say a person is in front of you or they're on the phone, they're in the store, wherever, and they begin to tell you about whatever they're about to tell. You got to be comfortable, number one, by asking them, oh, hey, let me ask you a question really quick. Do you want to vent or do you want help processing through this? I just want to know so I know how to listen. If the person says, I want to vent, then I'm teaching you this week about venting. If the person says, I want to process, I'm going to teach you how to process. I'm just taking you through this process, this whole dynamic. So you got to figure out if they want to vent or if they want to process. Then you're going to ask yourself, what energy do I have available? Am I in a place to vent? Am I in a place to help them process? See, the place where most empaths go wrong is they don't ask themselves, am I in a place? They already know they're not in a place to do this. And they do it anyway. They answer the phone anyway. They listen anyway. All of their pain is sitting there and they will suppress their pain and try to listen to the other person. It's exhausting. So you ask yourself, am I in a place to help? The next thing you ask yourself, how much time do I have to help? Sometimes I have to tell people, sure, I can help you then. I have about 15 minutes and I can chat with you. And just let you know, when we're approaching the end of the 15 minutes, I'm going to let you go because I got to get off the phone. How much time do I have? I used to spend hours on the phone with multiple people all day long when I was in ministry, and I was doing it for free and I was drained. I didn't want to hear another problem. I couldn't handle the problems in my relationship. I couldn't handle my own problems. My children got on my nerves. I just absorbed way too much energy. So then if you decide that you're not in a place, but you still want to help, keep yourself a log of some nice, helpful YouTube videos or books or links to blogs. And you can let them know, hey, I'm not quite in a place to talk right now because of some of my own stuff. This is self-care. But I can send you a link to something I often listen to when I'm in a particular place. Let me send that to you. Send the link to them. You have helped. You see, you have a program that says that the way you help people is you get them out of pain. So let's talk about it. When people don't understand, you got to understand for yourself, because the reason you'll stay on the phone or the reason you'll stay in talking to them is because you feel uncomfortable breaking conversation, or you feel like it's rude. You don't want to be rude, or you don't want to be seen as a certain thing, or people come to you for help. How can you not help? That part is draining. Getting comfortable with understanding that saving people is not helping them. It disempowers them even more when saving is not in alignment with self. Keep in mind that emotional pain is not bad. People need emotional pain to evolve. Secondly, You got to get comfortable with removing yourself. Now, how you remove yourself depends on your personality. If I'm in a difficult conversation with somebody, or there's some people who just won't let you get a word in. I don't feel uncomfortable interrupting them. Sometimes there's a lot of discomfort in interrupting people. And we'll say, I don't mean to interrupt you. I mean to interrupt. So I'll let them know before we start talking. While we're talking, you might hear me say, put a pin right there. And I say, and I'll explain to them, put a pin right there means that you're giving me so much information. I want to make sure I take it all in, or put a pin right there might mean I have to go, but we can talk a little time later. This is all about self-care, self-acknowledgement. I hope that makes sense. So, yep, they won't understand. And sometimes they're going to have a fit about it. But we have to decide if we want to be drained as we usually are, or if we actually want to evolve, and it can be difficult in the beginning, and people get mad, people get angry with me. If I'm having a conversation with someone who's important to me and they're not understanding what I'm saying, and I'm not understanding what they're saying, I recognize what place we're in. I'll say, you know what, right now, we're not going to get anywhere. So I'm going to get off the phone and kind of think to myself and see what's going on inside of me. And I'll come back. They don't like that usually. No, you just don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm saying, no, I'm going to call you back. I'm hanging up the phone now. And I hang up. They will say that I hung up in their face. They will say that I didn't listen. They will say all kinds of stuff. And you know what? They're right. I didn't listen because I was at my limit. I know my limits. You got to know your limits. I know my limits. And if I keep listening beyond my limit, then my triggers are going to start taking over. I know when my autopilot is about to take over, but I'm also empowered within myself to protect and take care of myself. And so it doesn't always go easy. Now, usually people who deal with me on a regular basis, they know that the reason I'm doing that is because I want to process it in my head so I can come back and talk about it. So they learn to feel safe. But it's not always like that in the beginning, especially if I just met a person. So becoming comfortable with all of these processes is so necessary. Remember, people who enter our attentional field are reflecting something about us. The question is, what are they reflecting? All right. So I'll stop right here and see if there are any questions, and then I'm going to zoom into trauma bonding. And then the rest of the lessons leading up to our last call will be about processes. All right. And so just in case you are trying to talk, you got to come off mute. But if not, I'll keep moving on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm trying to figure out how to close my energy off, so that way, like when I need to reach out, when I feel I need to reach out, I can. Because I feel like I understand like what you were saying about the different ways that you can end up draining yourself, but I feel like just sometimes interacting with people, I just pick up like different vibrations, different energies that sit on me. And yeah, I don't know. That's like kind of what's my struggles with. That's what I've been struggling with, trying to figure out a way to close myself off, so that way move without saying, picking up all these different energies.
Right. So good question. So what you don't want to do is close off your energy. And you don't want to avoid sensing. You need that. That's just part of being in tune. Everybody has empathetic ability, but not everybody is conscious enough to know what they're perceiving. So the ones that understand that I'm perceiving some energies, the reason that so let's talk about perception. Perception is the meaning you place on the thing that is happening. If you attribute a meaning to something that's negative, you're going to feel negative. If you look at a particular energy as negative, you're going to feel negative. It's about your perception. It's not about the energies in the environment. It's about your personal perceptions and belief systems. This is why I keep giving y'all new belief systems. Pain is not bad. If you think pain is bad, then when you sense pain in the environment, immediately you're going to start to contract before the person even says anything to you. And then definitely after they say something to you, you're going to really contract. If you think that it's your job to save people, as soon as you start perceiving some kind of energy and the person starts talking, you're going to contract. These are all the ways that you drain yourself from the inside. It's not the people draining you. It's the meaning and the belief systems that you place upon what's happening, what you're perceiving that's draining you. So you can't block anything because there's energies everywhere. You can go outside into nature and perceive some energy around, so you're always going to perceive energy. That's beautiful. But if you hold belief systems that keep you powerless, then you feel contracted and in pain or drained. So you want to perceive, but you want to hit these belief systems that keep you accepting pain and not healing. The other reason that you feel triggered is because you got a lot of emotionally unresolved energies in you. As long as those things are unresolved in you, they're going to hit you every single time. So that, again, it's not the people out there. It's what's going on inside. This whole teaching is about you, because all of the things that you experience come from inside of you, outside. Does that make sense? So if somebody wanted to really, really, really develop a healthy life as an empath when they're not moving in the ways that they used to, you probably would need to sign up for one-on-one coaching, and let's highlight your personal programs. Because I've given you some general programs. I've given you general programs that cause people to think they have problems and come to you. I'm giving you the programs that cause you to absorb. When I say programs, they're belief systems in your subconscious. These are general ones, but based upon your conditioning, you have some specific ones based upon what you've been through. If we highlight those, dissolve those within coaching, then you'll get better and better over time. I used to be the person saying I absorb. I used to sit on the phone and coach people and just hate and dread coaching. I stopped coaching for like 5 to 6 years because of it. Because I was just like, I can't do this. It's too draining. But I didn't see that it was how I was taking the information in. It was how I was having these unresolved energies within myself, not resolving them. Therefore, I was having that experience. When I started healing, when I started accepting universal truth, when I started taking in this information that I'm now giving to you, my whole life changed. Now I coach people all day long, all week long, except on Saturday. It's all day long. I coach people starting at 7 a.m. And then my last call ends at 1. I homeschool, and then I start back up at 5. This is 6 days a week, and I'm not drained. So, but I used to have one call and be drained. And if it was 2, oh my God, I'm so tired. My head is hurting. I need to go take a nap. I can't take this. Everything that you experience is coming from inside of you. That's why I say, I'm giving you the steps, but you gotta execute the steps. That's why I say practice. Don't just sit on this information, practice it. Somebody's in front of you. They're on the phone. They want to talk about something. Number 1, ask them, do you want to vent or do you want to process? Number 2, ask yourself, am I in a place to receive a vent? If you are, then I'm going to teach you how to do that in the upcoming days. If you're not, you'll say, I'm not right in a place to vent, but I can send you this, the link, the book title, whatever. You've still helped. You didn't have to block anything. Now they're gone to listen to the title of the book or find it or whatever. No blocking necessary. When I teach you how to hold a vent, no blocking necessary. But the next part, if you want this to really take root, you need to get at your personal programs. And I'm glad you got away from your draining family member for a week too. Yeah. And the thing is, you're going to keep rescuing because you got a rescue program in there. Something in your life taught you that you are the person who should help others because you're strong. A lot of times when you have a strong personality, when you're the oldest child, when you are the child that is most responsible, something like that. When a parent places a lot of responsibility on you or places a premium on being responsible, when you've been praised for being responsible and other people punished for not being responsible, you take on responsibility seriously because it was rewarding at some point. That's a rescue program. You want to rescue people and you can't just stop because that program is running your show. It's like turning on the computer. You can't just tell a computer stop when you're turning it on. It's programmed to load. And it's going to load, right? Until something interrupts the program. A virus will come in, and then then the computer can't load. I'm teaching you how to interrupt your program. But if you want it to really happen in a long-lasting way, then you come into one-on-one coaching and we dissolve your personal programs. I want to know, does that make sense? Because I'm wrapping up now. And
yeah,
I want
that
to hear,
does.
yeah.
Everything you said hit home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you for your question.
I was definitely looking at things wrong. You know, saying the idea I had of how I needed to navigate and handle my energy and just handle like how I deal with things. You got definitely opened my eyes to something different. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome. And this is
Sheesh.
because, go ahead.
Everything keep going.
Go ahead.
I'm actually learning a lot, and I actually wouldn't mind for you, like I said before, for you to be my coach. I think this would be like a totally transforming type of thing that I can get into. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll DM you again, but like just DM me and tell me which link or whatever I need to click on or something like that, because I really do need assistance and help with that, because I've always been the responsible one in the family, the responsible one out of my siblings. And then like career choices has always been like, I always feel like I had to help people, rescue
Mm-hmm.
people and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it gets totally draining at times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, what
Yeah.
you're saying about the programming, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad y'all are here, and I'm glad you're asking these questions and giving this feedback. This is so important. We have been programmed by pop psychology, mainstream psychology, social media to do all this energetic work, right? And I love energetic work. I love Reiki. I love crystals. I love singing bowls. I love it. It looks so good. It feels so good. I love salt baths. I love affirmations. But guess what? When your subconscious is still programmed, it's like putting a Band-Aid over a gaping wound. You need all of the modalities that are in alignment for you, but everybody needs to understand what's in their subconscious programming. That's the shadow work. When we bring the shadow to the light, we understand what's going on, then we can do something about it. Until then, you're going to have to keep buying sage every day. You're going to have to buy more and more crystals. You're going to be immersing yourself in salt baths and trying to bury yourself in the earth, trying to ground, because it's in your subconscious. All right. And so finally, there's trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is a psychological response to abuse. And let me say, it doesn't just have to be someone who's been beaten or emotionally abused. This can come from any situation that was emotionally painful. It could have been that you were in school and you didn't do well in math. This could be anything, okay? It's a psychological response to an emotional trauma. I want to say emotional trauma. Emotional trauma is anything that causes emotional pain in you. It occurs when the person forms an unhealthy bond with the person who abused them, mistreated them, or a like energy, someone like the person who abused or mistreated them. This is happening with people who keep drawing the same people in the same situations over and over and over again. It's your unresolved energies attracting like energies. If you experience some emotional trauma where you felt you were done wrong and you don't resolve that, you're going to draw people who do you wrong, or you'll be the one being accused of being done wrong, So you're going to draw these like energies. So sometimes empaths trauma bond, and that's draining. You attach to somebody because you know how it feels for nobody to be there. And so then you can't walk away from the relationship because you feel like, well, who's going to be there? They don't have anybody. I know how it feels to not have anybody. You stay stuck. Nobody can help them. They don't have a place to go. You see the person as a victim and you as the savior, and it's draining because they're really not a victim. It's just that you won't allow them to live the life that is on their path. And that path is laid out and they must travel it. You can extend it out, but they must travel it. And you're going to drain yourself trying to stop someone to travel on if you try to stop someone from traveling a path that is laid out for them. For some people, homelessness is on their life path. For some people, divorce is on their life path. I can't say why, because I didn't design the universe. I just know it's true. There have been some stuff on my life path that people have wanted to save me from. They couldn't. They shouldn't, because I needed it. It's part of my time-space reality, my purpose and passion for being here. All the information I give you is from years of processing, taking in books and videos and things, because I was on the search, because I was in my own stuff. So if someone had saved me, then I could not be the fullest version of myself. When you save people, you disempower them. And when people save you, they disempower you. Okay, so we're not here to save others. So if you got a program in you that says, I need to save, if you project a lot, if you have unresolved energies that are interacting with the energies around you and causing you to be drained, that lets you know that the next step for you is coaching. It doesn't have to be me. It could be any coach, but if it is me, I am here for it, because this is the work that I do all week long. I am here as part of my purpose. So imagine if when I was absorbing as an empath and coaching and I just was getting burned out, imagine if I didn't come to my right mind, we could not be here. So these things need to happen. A universal law is everything is as it should be. All right. So that's it. I'm going to post the replay of this teaching in the group. I want y'all to apply this stuff. Don't just take it in as information. I need you to chew on it. That's why I provide days for you to digest. I don't just keep slamming you with information. I give you days to kind of soak it up, because this information can change your life if you would apply it. Apply the steps. When I give you something practical, practice it. Do not get focused on blocking. That's not the way to go. You know why? Because your energy is expansive. When you're blocking, then you're contracting. I know people have said that and you have heard it, but it doesn't work for anybody, because if that was the truth, then everybody who blocked would be happy, and they're not. People tell you avoid positive vibrations only. You can't. This whole world is full of positive and negative vibrations. That's how we operate. You can't even have a battery without a positive and a negative. We must have balance on this earth. People are playing the roles that they came here to play. So we're not going to walk around trying to block or avoid or close up. Some people say, oh, you got to put up boundaries. You got to let people know. That's fine, but you're putting up boundaries from a contracted place. And all it's going to do is wall you in, because the people are going to keep coming. But you're going to be blocking people who came to serve you and do you good. You're going to be giving blanket statements to everybody, generalizations, to the point where you're not even going to be able to see things for what they are. So all of this easy stuff, affirmations are beautiful after you've done the work, or while you're doing the work. But affirmations alone are that Band-Aid over the gaping wound. All right. So I am done. I appreciate y'all. I love your presence. Take the information, breathe it in, and practice, because you do not have to absorb. You are here for beautiful work, and the world needs you. All right. So that is it. Y'all have a beautiful day. and you'll be hearing from me soon.